evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Triggered. I'm your host, Zachary Clark, and you all know my co host, Adam Furman. Adam, how are you?
You and me.
Excellent, excellent.
So are we streaming now? Or
No,
no?
definitely not. I don't know what's going on. I'm in the red just talking to you over Skype. I don't know what's happened. But
No. Oh.
my guess is we're being DDoSed because of the truth telling.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Because, you know what always puts me in a better mood? News from the scanner. Scanner radio.
I I did that. I did that in the car the other day. I was riding with the wife, and I was like, "Oh, let me go check the scanner."
See, it's already taking off among the two of us. From the inbox. Something going on at the Best Western on 3rd Street in Hannibal last few hours. 43 minutes ago, female locked in a room and they're making negotiations with her to come out. They're still there, it sounds like. It's been all day. Prayers for what it may be. I always like that. Everybody in the replies is always like, prayers, and this people are doing it like sarcastically. Like on like the lamppost one. There are people that are like, prayers for the lamppost. Stuff like this.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this being sarcastic, but definitely the lamppost one.
Yeah, I don't know. This lady was holed up in a hotel room and whatever they had to make negotiations with her to come out. I'd like to know the full story. Did some hardened FBI negotiator have to show up on the bullhorn? Ma'am, we know you're locked inside of a hotel room. We can't find any way to get you out of there.
I mean, like, who holds himself up in Hannibal, either like or anywhere around here? It's like, we'll give you $50 to come outside.
We've brought the Hardee's sandwiches that you requested.
Oh yes.
Oh, thank you, sir. That's all I wanted. I'll be on my way now.
It's like Mrs. Jenkins. It's just a typical Thursday afternoon for Mrs. Jenkins.
As soon as she opens the door, take her, take her, take her! And the SWAT team swarms in. Oh my gosh. No. Oh. That's what you get for locking yourself. I don't know. I just thought this one was bizarre. Like, who would lock themselves in a hotel room? Why would you negotiate with someone who's locked themselves in a hotel room? I don't know. It was very strange. No details.
Yeah.
Prayers.
Could make a quick $50 or a Hardee's combo meal or something out of it.
Oh, this was an interesting story. Also from the inbox. So these are the loons that watch the scanner too much that they actually send news to the scanner. And
yes.
Dog owners of the Quincy area, beware! It seems as if someone is going around stealing large dogs. With none of the animals being found deceased at pounds or up for sale elsewhere, this leads me to an educated decision of a dog fighting ring.
Oh my gosh.
Please keep your dogs on a leash or within eyesight. Be cautious. Again, this isn't a fact by any means. Just a hunch. Be safe.
No.
Something like 16 large dogs have disappeared recently from a 25-mile radius of Quincy. What the hell is happening? Only option? A dog fighting ring.
Yeah, I know. Like, why did you go there?
That's what I didn't know.
Could have been aliens.
Yeah, or maybe gold's been found in our hills, all Call of the Wild, and people need large dogs to pull sleds in the Yukon. And so they've kidnapped them from around town to pull their dog sledges. And then one defiant dog, after resisting being beaten down by the man, eventually breaks free from his dog team and joins a pack of wolves. And his name is Buck. And he lives on. If nowhere else than in my heart. So watch out, everybody in Quincy. Keep your dog on a leash, and there could be dog snatchers out there waiting to take your dog on a brutal adventure to the Yukon in search of gold, fame, and fortune. Highly likely. Or a dog fighting ring. Hard to say, really. If you can imagine
Same difference.
It could be true. Last scanner point, bringing it back to the booms that we occasionally suffer. We had this one also from the inbox. Yeah. All the good stuff's been coming in from the inbox. Most of the regular scanner stuff's just like 1050 traffic accident with injuries, or the weather for today is going to be. Oh my God, it's useful information. Thank you. Really doesn't cut the mustard for the scanner segment, though, guys. Come on.
No.
Loud boom out toward east side. Power at Cardinal Apartments went out and came back on. No sirens. Around 11:30 a.m. Any idea what happened? First prize, usually a squirrel tripping a breaker, maybe. Who knows? Damn squirrels out here be tripping. And I'm just like, once again, it's just like, we don't know. It's just a explosion. Well, boom. No big deal. They happen all the time. Who knows? Who knows what could be causing this stuff? Let's just go on about our business, folks. Wait, we need to get to the bottom. Don't worry about it. Booms, they happen all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, Quincy. Oh, my adopted town here. So strange. So strange. No, I won't get into it. I was going to discuss my prejudices, my one true prejudice that I've had to struggle with since moving here, especially. It came up earlier today, and my shame relived. Oh. Anyway, but speaking of canceling, it turns out that there are many a bank that will no longer do business with Gab. He's been banned from 4 banks in as many weeks. The CEO of the new tech company said they are seriously considering buying their own bank as a result. Once again.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I can't imagine it's like all banks, right? Because there's like 6 banks just in town here. I'm sure they could find some local bank like, hey, look.
Yeah. And if, I think that part of this is, I think that part of it is a marketing tactic,
Yeah, we're banned again.
It works. Yeah. It works, because I think that you have the opportunity, or you have the ability. I'm not on Gab, but I think you have the opportunity to donate to them, right? Or subscribe, or so. There's they generate revenue some form or fashion. I think the users can do.
Patronage, yeah, probably. They probably do. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I'm just saying, yeah, but I agree with you. A local bank, would be okay with.
They'd be like, this is the call. We just got a call from a guy who said that he keeps getting banned from banks. I was under the understanding that we had to take all customers who walk through the door. Could you do some research on this for me? Is there ever a situation in which a bank could not accept a customer? Could you get that to me in an hour? Thanks, bye. Okay, I need to search all laws ever to see if there's any. If there's any laws out there that say I can't accept somebody as a banking customer.
Excuse me. There we go.
Get that memo to you right away.
Oh, gosh. What do you got in your cup tonight, friend?
Oh, bourbon with a couple dashes of Angostura bitters. Probably not enough, though. Well, that wasn't the only people that was doing some canceling. Marco Rubio wanted to cancel Joe Biden because he offended our people. President Biden's use of an old stereotype is hurtful to modern Europeans, Asians, and Americans who inherit about 2% of their genes from Neanderthal ancestors. He should apologize for his insensitive comments and seek training on unconscious bias.
Yeah. It's the I'm rubber, you're glue type stuff, copy paste things that people are saying.
Yeah.
The left is saying he's adopted that.
Correct. It's like sarcasm.
But the real danger, yes, but the real danger here, and this wasn't reflected in his tweet, I've seen it from other people commenting, is the real danger here is the dehumanization of of people who you disagree with. So they're not really people; they're like Neanderthals. They're subhuman, if you will.
Yeah, but right. That's not. What Biden said was that Texas loosening its COVID restrictions, like no longer having a legal mandate for businesses to shut down or to have people wear masks in public, was Neanderthal thinking.
Yeah.
So he was just saying that Neanderthals are dumb and primitive, and this is dumb and primitive thinking. So it wasn't necessarily dehumanizing people as Neanderthals, but was using them as a stereotypical dumb thing to compare to what they were doing.
Sure, Zach.
Which is why then Marco here pulled out the leftist talk about. And it goes to show that this stuff doesn't work if it's tried by people on the right, because nobody cares. This
Absolutely.
is a perfectly.
It looks stupid, anyways.
Yeah, this is a perfectly legitimate line of argument from people on the left for like the past decade now. It's like every time. Dr. Seuss is going to get into it.
It's true, though. I mean, like, there is, like, it's a genetic thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
we are part Neanderthal. What are you trying to say? Everybody with Neanderthal DNA is stupid, Joe? He needs to read more and listen. He's probably part Neanderthal, too. He needs to, end the self-hatred.
Yeah, he's bought into the lies. He's bought into the oppression.
He's not a cultural Neanderthal, so he's not a real one, like us. We're the real Neanderthals.
Yeah, wait a second. I think we're.
But even in Marco's replies here, there's some people that are like going after him, but for saying this thing that everybody on the left says about all those other groups and whatever, like it. Whatever. I thought it was weird. But then this lady goes in hard on him. Marco Rubio wants Biden to apologize for using the word Neanderthal because it's offensive to some people. I'm offended that Marco's head is so far up his ass. And there's some really, disgusting and disturbing commentary in here, not the least of which is the comparison directly of this. I believe this is that congresswoman that was all the controversy, looking like what a female Neanderthal looked like. Comparison picture.
Okay, here's exactly my point. the dehumanizing and the subhuman comments and stuff. Case in point, this picture. Look at this
Yeah.
person.
Would
They're
this
not
be
even
allowed?
human.
Imagine this. Imagine this. Someone made racist comments about, uh, Tim Scott. He's a black senator. And then, like, white supremacists were on Twitter and saying, like, oh, what I'm really tired of is person who made fun of Tim Scott having his head so far up his butt. Or whatever. And then, like, comparing Tim Scott with, like, a picture of, like, offensive, stereotypical, like, caricatures of black people or whatever, with a side-by-side picture. It's like, maybe whoever said that offensive things, comments were true, because Tim Scott does look like a caricature of black person. And you're just like, what? Why would somebody think that would be okay?
No.
Yeah, this is this.
That's what I was getting at, like, a minute or two ago.
Yeah, this is literally the reactionary stuff that people say that the right does whenever some left wokeist person does. It's like, okay, this just reiterates that they're exactly the same. There's no difference. It's just a matter of, like, character and perception and the issues and group identities that are affiliated with each. But otherwise, they respond in the exact identical ways, except for one of them has cultural power right now and exerts it to blacklist people and remove them from positions of influence and power, and the other doesn't have that power, and so they're just like, whatever, we can ignore you and do what we want. Oh. But, like, the main thing is, like, it's just, like, mocking that how could someone even be remotely offended? Oh, this is so silly just to be offended because someone said Neanderthal. Bloop, bloop, bloop. While in the meantime, this was similarly going on while this debate was raging.
Oh, jeez.
Did you hear, Adam?
I caught, like, the tail end of this thing. I thought this was, like, the dumbest thing. I don't know. Well, there's a lot of dumb stuff going on right now, but
the stage at the conservative PAC thing or whatever looked like a Odal rune. Which I don't know what that is. I wouldn't have known. It's like
hey, there's this Nazi symbol I know of, and it's like, why do you even know this thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's on the Anti-Defamation League website.
It's like, I am an expert on Nazi symbolism.
Yeah.
It's like, there's
reality is like a Rorschach ink blot to whoever.
It's like, I have this flag. I know. That's the thing I get. That's what I get from them when they say this stuff.
It's like, okay, it's insane that people would be offended because Joe said Neanderthal means stupid, and, like, a bunch of people have Neanderthal DNA. That's ridiculous that someone would be offended by that. But clearly there's secret Nazis hiding secret Nazi symbols in their stage design at the Conservative Conference. OMG, just a coincidence? I think not. Image of Charlie Day with the strings.
Let me
Look at it. It all makes sense.
It's like, let me confer with my secret cabal of industry and flavor.
Trump's got a new tie on at CPAC conference. Everybody, search all of the Anti-Defamation League racist symbols to see if the tie is in any way incorporated in any of them, so that we can pull it up and say, "A coincidence? I think not. Look how Trump reps these Nazi symbols on the CPAP stage."
It's like that T-shirt, right? The T-shirt, we covered that in, like, one of our first few episodes, where it's like, look, the Trump campaign selling this shirt. And guess who else had an eagle? The Nazis.
That was great. Because recently I did see someone else brought that back around. and it was, I think it's the seal of the Speaker of the House has an eagle on it, like standing on a globe just like that. But it is looking the other way at him, so clearly a different symbol and not a Nazi symbol. But otherwise, it's like identical.
Yeah.
Trump one. Nancy Pelosi couldn't be a Nazi because she's a Democrat, so that's just how it works. Man. Beepity beep beepity beep beepity beep. Oh my gosh, what's this? Beepity beep beep. Breaking news. Doopity boop boopity boop boop boop. Breaking news. Oh my gosh, the House passes H.R. 1. The very first bill proposed in the House of Representatives for this Congress passes by a vote of 220 to 210. What could this be? Let's read on. The bill federalizes election processes while gutting voter ID, mandating no-fault absentee ballots, and banning witness signatures or notarization requirements for absentee ballots. H.R. 1 now heads to the Senate. I didn't actually read the bill, and the linked article here is to the Heritage Foundation, and they aren't exactly friends with this kind of stuff, so they probably exaggerated and highlighted what was to be included in here. But I will say that some of the stuff that I saw from others things was like changing the voting age and doing some other stuff. I don't know, and I said, okay. That's illegal. When we talked about this, and
Yes.
but
it's like the thing, right? I will make it legal.
well, here's the deal, right? I guess in theory, if I'm tracking the genealogy of this bill and why it was promoted, pushed forward, it was to create nationwide standards for voting in the country, which is okay. I can see why you might want to do that. Every state has its own deal, and it does it a different way, et cetera, and so you don't know what's going on in Florida might not be going on in Illinois, might not be going on in Iowa, might not be going on in California, whatever. But it's in response to the past election and all of the confusion and the doubt and then the skepticism on the, on the strength, the validity of the outcome of the election and all these things.
Yeah, it was even like a high skepticism for people who identified as Democrats, too.
Right. And it's specifically related to the presidential election.
Correct.
No one was really talking about Senate elections or really cared about any of that stuff. Too much. It was mostly used as like a bludgeon to say, well, if they were going to steal votes for Biden, then why did so many Republican senators win? Then in those same states, you gotcha. I don't know. That's not the point. The point is that the system is so weak that it cannot be reliably trusted to do the thing that it says it does. It says at the end of the day, after all the votes are counted, that guy A got this many, guy B got that many, guys C, D, E, F, and G got less than 1% combined.
Yeah.
Kinds of stuff. And at that point, what that is saying is that those are the amount of votes that were cast by eligible voters for each of the candidates respectively. So that's what it is. It's like, okay, so now I don't trust, because the system's so loosey-goosey, that that's true anymore. That is the number of votes that were actually cast for the different guys. Because it could have been, I don't disagree, I mean, probably a large portion, nigh most, nay, 90% of the votes could have been as determined by counting them, but there's this large area of potential for fraudulent activity. And the bigger that zone of potential fraud is, the less reliable the election outcome will be, and the more room there is for people to doubt or to think that it is a legitimate representation of legitimate voters actually selecting who they selected. And the things that increased that zone of doubt in the latest election is stuff like this that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And they think that I don't. So does the track so far. All right, okay. This stuff is the exact stuff that was objected to that made the election too loosey-goosey to be reliable and left this large zone of doubt that allows people to reasonably say, I don't know one way or the other if it's legitimate or not, or to take a side arbitrarily and say, yes, it's obviously fair and free and correct, or it's obviously fake and a fraud. And I'm like, okay. Either way, I don't know. I take the stance of nobody checked every single vote. Nobody did. Nobody went through in the voter rolls and all of the millions of people that voted and said that, oh, yes, Jane Smith was registered to vote and did, in fact, cast a vote, and that vote was cast by Jane Smith, et cetera, 70 million times or whatever.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You don't want to, you don't want to examine too much. You might find other issues.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so you don't know.
Stop asking questions about the booms.
I have to know where they're from. And
that's the thing, right?
Yeah. That's the only way that you could know one way or the other is if you went through that, because it's so loosey-goosey that if you got a million mail-in ballots, you don't know that they were mailed in by whoever's name is on the front. It doesn't matter. Anybody could have filled that out. Literally anyone. So you'd have to go through each and every one, and then establish that a sufficient number of them, and not just statistically or extrapolated from a randomly selected sample. Though you could do that, and provide some evidence, but as I've seen in a number of things, it's like, oh, it's not enough fraud in order to actually have affected the outcome of the election, and thus, etc., etc. You don't know how much fraud there is, because no one's...
It's found like 2 years later, and then they're like, oh, sorry, we sent out voting stuff to people who weren't citizens, or whatever the Secretary of State said.
There's dead people that voted. Obviously, they've determined that there was some of that stuff that did happen in the 2020 election. That is not a question. To the extent that anybody's out there arguing that there's no evidence of any fraud happening, they're either ignorant of the truth, or they're liars.
Yeah.
Dumb or
stupid. They're dumb or they're bad.
Yeah, dumb or bad. The whole dumb or bad quandary.
Yeah.
So, it's not a thing. Then they will say, and these are the same people that say that, where's your evidence to support that there was fraud in the election? You can't just, without evidence, just say these things. Will say that, the fraud wasn't sufficient to affect the outcome of the election. It happens in every one. It just wasn't enough. And I say, okay. How do you know? It just isn't. It's just never enough. I know, because reasons that I can't tell you because they're secrets.
yeah, exactly.
You don't know. You can't know. This is the problem with any amount of fraud. If that scope of creating doubt, if that cloud of doubt that's being created over the outcome of your election is larger than a pinprick, you've got a huge problem. Because no one will think that this stuff is reliable anymore. And that's the one avenue that the average citizen can effect political power and influence. And if you take that away from them, yes,
peaceful power and influence.
Precisely what I'm getting at. That they will no longer think that the elections are legitimate, which is the only thing that keeps them from taking up arms and doing whatever they want to do. And you take away the legitimacy of those things, and it's a problem. And the riots of 2020 and the worst attack on the government since 9/11, as we all know, that happened on January 6th, would be a cakewalk. But who am I to judge the great Congress people that represent the states of this nation from walking down this? Except the other thing. The other thing is that this is, in my mind, I'm associated with addressing the issues with the presidential election, and it disturbs me that mayhaps 220 Congresspeople had not read the Constitution. So let me read it to you all now. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. Who gets to decide the manner on which electors are chosen, Adam?
It says the legislator there. The legislature. So Congress, right?
No. Of each state. The legislature of each state gets to decide how the electors are chosen.
Wait. No. Read it again.
Right. Each state shall appoint, in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct, a number of electors.
Yeah, so the legislature, each state will appoint what the legislature, meaning Congress, says that they're able to. I think that's what that bill is talking about, and then reading into with this.
You know that's not true. There is a section in Article 1
you just got triggered.
talking about how the states get to decide how the electors for Congress, who qualifies for that. And within the restrictions of the Constitution sets certain wide parameters on that kind of thing. But it does say that Congress can, if they choose by legislation, to change the state's qualifications of the electors for Congress. So who can vote for Congress people? They can do that. But the Constitution clearly states that whoever votes for president and how they do that is chosen by the states. And since Congress has never been stupid, had the foresight to pass nationwide election laws like this before, it's always made sense that it's just basically, and I don't know, because this hasn't always been true. In the recent past, it's basically been the same. Whoever's voting, you just vote for whoever is on the ballot, and there's no different classes of voters when you go to your polling place. Imagine that. All right, Congress has established these standards, but that's only for electors for the Congress. And it includes 16-year-olds and all sorts of crazy nonsense about absentee ballots and I don't even know what. But the state has, within its constitutional powers, decided that only landed gentry aged 26, well, you can't do that because of the 18-year-old amendment, aged 18 to 37 can vote for the electors of the President of the United States. And then you'd have to say, well, I don't know, do you qualify? Are you 18 to 37? Do you own land? Well, then yes, you can vote for the electors of the president. There you go. Here's your separate just for president ballot. It's just a stupid mess. And these stupid people are trying to make stupid messes of our already stupid elections, and it makes me mad. And on top of that, it violates the Constitution. And I hate it. Hate. Oh.
So hateful.
This triggers me off the freaking planet. But it's like that. That's the stupid your fake argument you're making about how you could read that sentence is exactly what some idiots are probably on the internet saying right now. I can probably Google, I'm not going to, because I'm already just like this close. But there's people out there right now that are saying that actually it says that it's legislature's right there in it. It says legislature right there in it, and Congress is the legislature. And it's that Wojak, and it's just got like a black hole where its brain should be. That's all I can see.
Yeah, or take the bicycle one, the hamster wheel. Oh, so many good ones.
So many good ones. Or alternatively, it's the sarcastic big brain ones. It's like, I'm so smart, I figured it out.
There you go.
Look, it says legislature right in it.
He's like riding his brain like it's like a horse.
Yes. Huge
Like,
brain, dude.
himself.
I'm just sitting over here like withered Wojak, like, oh, end it, please. Lord, call me home. Oh. But in other news, in line with our Biden flub line the other day, we had another one. And let me be abundantly clear about this, Adam. That this was further proof of the leftist agenda. Dick Durbin in the committee was chatting up about I don't even remember what it was about because I don't care about whatever else he was talking about.
Yes, you do.
But he had a slip of the tongue, and he said that we need to be abundantly queer. He's trying to make us all gay. It's just like Alex Jones warned us.
You're right again.
I mean, obviously, that's absurd, but funny. And some hero did the hard work of clipping out just the goods.
We need to be abundantly queer. 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 We need to be abundantly.
You know, he's saying it and I'm dancing. Yeah. As part of the issues, I could no longer share my audio. I think that might be part of it, but I don't know. Like it's okay. Black magic voodoo about why this doesn't work or does work whenever it does or doesn't work. Oh. So.
That as like a you need to take that as like a soundbite for the station, like so.
We can just play that whenever something.
Yeah.
Something from the gay agenda is in the news. Then we like play it.
There you go. There you go.
Let me be just abundantly queer.
Yeah, you have like you've got your intros to the segments, right? You've got your like Morse code breaking news thing. You've got your scanner intro. You've got your oing, 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 oing thing for, I don't know. And then you've got Senator Dick Durbin going, abundantly queer.
Not just, but we need to be.
Oh, is that what he says?
Yeah, we need to be abundantly queer. And I come from the old school where queer just means a little strange, so it sounds fine to me, man. Everybody should be a little
Reading,
strange.
it's kind of reading books and stuff from, the 20s and 30s and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Everybody needs to be a little strange. That's why I really liked reading Dr. Seuss. It was always so fanciful and strange. Made you, oh wait, did you hear? Six duck.
It was his birthday.
Yeah, and on his birthday, they decided that he's a terrible racist. And 6 of his books will no longer be printed by his publisher.
Wait. He's a terrible racist?
Yes, that's correct. Terrible racist in his
And
books.
so they're only taking 6 books away instead of all of them.
Well, these were the terrible racist ones, Adam.
Yeah, but if he's racist, that means that all of his books are tainted. And they should all be taken away. And sacrificed.
Hold on. They make a lot of money on those other books. You should probably shut up about that.
He's like, wait, we didn't focus group that one.
But they did. They did remove from publishing these 6 books. And to think I saw that on Mulberry Street. If I ran a zoo, McElligot's Pool, which I can't even say. McElligot? I don't know, whatever. On Beyond Zebra, Scrambled Eggs Supper, The Cat Quizzer, and is that it?
Yeah.
And this gentleman says, I heart Dr. Seuss, but I'm not upset about today's news. Dr. Seuss Enterprises decided not to publish 6 books with racist images. Racist images. I'm very curious. Already. Nothing was canceled or banned. These aren't the books you know anyway. They are more obscure titles that most people have never heard of. Alright. This is how this works, right? Obviously, it's not being canceled because if anybody wants the thing, they can just go make their own Twitter or create a website, get a GoDaddy.com domain name, and then type all
Yeah,
of
there's
your...
private exchanges. The books were in print, so you could just, find someone who has it, and if they want to sell it, to buy it.
Yeah.
There's like exchanges out there. There's, eBay, for example.
Yeah. In other news, eBay
Amazon
says
private sellers.
eBay says that they will no longer allow trading in those books.
Wait, whoa. Wait a second. Is eBay eBay's not the publisher?
No.
Okay, so the publisher and another company specializing in... Well, what about Amazon? Amazon?
Oh, you can still get it
on
on a used copy on Amazon. Oh, for sure, but you have to pay like $3,000 for a children's board book.
They're actually still...
I think they are.
Are you for real? They still have the listings up?
I think so.
I didn't think that they did.
No, they might have taken it down. I haven't checked.
I think they took them out. So here you go, publisher. I don't know antitrust law. It's.
Yeah, it seems like illegal
it doesn't
cooperation
pass the sniff
coordination.
test, right?
Yeah, it's very strange. Particularly, it's like, well, you can still go to your local bookseller, and if they happen to have an old copy of the hot-selling McGilligot's Pool in stock. You could probably get a copy for $50 or whatever. Your local library, which I'm sure will never ban these books, because why would they? And it's not banning anyway. They only have so much shelf space, Adam. Oh, they're just, clearing out for other things that are more representative.
Yeah.
This isn't canceling. It's an absurd thing to assert. You're clearly asserting. Weird. And there was the second time this week, there was something else that came up. A guy was trying to find a copy of an old book for trolley reasons. But he was still trying to find it. Couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh, yes.
Couldn't find it anywhere on the face of the planet. Except for like this local bookseller someplace. And that's the way it is with this stuff. This is the way it's going to go. It's going to vanish. And you might be able to find it at somebody's garage sale someplace. So it's not technically canceled because somebody somewhere could still sell it. There's no law banning the selling of this. It's just, instead of being able to transact in nigh unlimited millions of transactions in this book, now you can maybe do 3 a year. Not canceled, though, Adam. This is just the market at work.
And the transactions are actively, it's like they're actively being suppressed.
Yeah. Actually, your bank, if they knew you were taking money out to buy that book, would prohibit you from doing that transaction and cancel your bank account. Good luck.
Yeah.
You can't use your PayPal account to buy that book. I'm sorry. It's not canceling. PayPal just made a decision, like a private participant in the market. This all seems very sane. But there was a hero crab on the internet. I was deadly curious, because I definitely wanted to see what racist images were in these books. And none of the news articles had them. These news articles would say that these books were being panned as racist. And that's why they were being canceled. They had images in them, and the only one you could find was from, and to think I saw that on Mulberry Street, and it had a depiction of a caricatured Chinaman with like the long braid, and you know the guy. And they said that's why, and that's the only I'm like, okay, there weren't any other images. There was some description of one in the zoo book, if I ran a zoo, but they didn't have any of the pictures, and I thought that was very strange. I'm like, listen, are these newspapers actually reporting that that the reason these were canceled was because of racist images, and they don't even have the images that they're reporting as being racist? And the answer was yes, they didn't have them. No one had looked at them because they were not available anywhere until Hero Crab decided to just tweet the entire text of like 4 of these books.
Yeah, it's like high quality images too.
Oh yeah, he did a wonderful job. He must have like an ebook of each of these somehow.
Before disconnect.
Dude, I don't know.
Disconnect the thing.
He just tweeted them all out, and so I went ahead and read them, and I was like, okay. And for this one, if I ran a zoo, and I will pick for you the ones that I think could have gotten this book canceled based on my understanding of how we certain people treat caricatured depictions of folks in media. We have the first one, and it says, I'll capture them fat and I'll capture them scrawny. I'll capture a scragglefoot mulligatawny, a high-stepping animal fast as the wind from the blistering sands of the desert of Zind. This beast is the best, and the brave chieftains ride when they want to go fast and find some place to hide. The mulligatawny is fine for my zoo, and so is a chieftain. I'll bring one back too. Alright, you have a man with a long mustache wearing a turban from the desert, with a scimitar riding on a camel-looking creature. All right. So the caricature itself is like already like depicting like, I don't know, maybe some sort of stereotypical Arab or something. I don't know. And then it's talking about how he's just going to take one of these human beings back to his zoo along with this creature. So, okay. That checks some boxes on the we should cancel this thing as being culturally insensitive, right? Although I do like this fashionable gentleman. Look at that mustache. It's literally blowing like 4 feet behind him in the wind. Digging it. Not to mention the pros are just killer. This is the one that was described in text, but they didn't have an image of. I'll go to the African island of Yerk and bring back a tizzle-topped, tufted mazurka, a kind of canary with quite a tall throat. His neck is so long if he swallows an oat for breakfast the first day of April, they say, it has to go down such a very long way that it goes to his stomach the 15th of May. And the islanders from the African island of Yurka are wearing grass skirts. Looks like they have a ring in their nose, and they have their hair bound up in tufts atop their head. I didn't think that this one was bad. Is that bad? This is just.
I don't know. I can't.
This is just a depiction of the native peoples that live on Yurka.
Okay.
And so I didn't get it why this was. I might get into this a little bit, but okay. I thought that this one was way worse than this, but not because of the whatever depiction, but because he was being basically enslaved to this zoo along with the wild animal that he rides, which is probably not wild. Looks like it's pretty domesticated, and they're capturing this man and his domesticated horse-like creature and just imprisoning them at the zoo.
Yeah.
What?
That sounds.
That's not good. I don't like that at all. But this is just people that are. This is the people of the made-up place of Yorka, dressed like this and wear their hair like this and have this stuff going on. But I'm like, okay. People of different cultures look and dress differently, and also within that culture similarly. I don't know why there would be a problem with that, but I guess that because the depiction rings with some kind of historical stereotypical depiction of I wouldn't say African Americans because these are African natives, that the depiction of just black people in media in general with that thing, I guess, that because of that, this is racist and bad. Cancel it. Scrubbed. And the last thing I saw was this Russian gentleman. He's got bandoleros, little rifle strapped to his back with this fluffy fur coat, this giant poofy hat, and this absurd beard.
Yeah, that's
An absurd caricature of a Russian. And this is literal. And speaking of birds, there's the Russian Poluski, whose head ski is red ski and belly is blue ski. And I'll get one of them for my Zewski Magruski. And it's obviously mocking Russia so severely that it's probably offensive if you're from Russia.
That's straight up a real place.
Yeah,
eating.
Yes, this isn't made up. Russia is okay. Unlike Yurka, which I do believe to be fake. We can Google that. Google it. African Island Yurka. It's just going to pull up the Seuss book, is my guess. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maps? Does Yurka exist? Is it a place?
How do you spell it?
Yerka. It does not exist.
I do not recall any country named Yurka. Not anywhere. What was the geography be in 7th grade, Zachary?
Yeah. I guess it doesn't exist. There's a Yurka in California. Yurka land. No, I don't know. Anyway, if you are aware of it existing, I'm not aware of it. So you have made-up islanders, native peoples, and then you have literal place that is a absurd caricature. Not only the image, which is just absolutely ridiculous, but the way that they mock Russians with the text on the associated page is just hilariously offensive. So, whatever. I thought it was fine because, once again, just like all the other things that were canceled, the stuff is coming in the context of the book is emanating from a child's imagination, and so it's not supposed to be like accurate representations of whatever peoples or whatever. It's supposed to be just like, in this child's mind, this is what he sees, and okay, and they're printed in like the 30s or whatever. So okay.
Yeah, kids make up stuff all the time. You know, sometimes they have an accurate understanding of something, and sometimes they mismatch them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, look, Russia, and then whatever.
Right. And so it's just like, this is just like a freewheeling, free associated situation in a child's mind, imagining the zoo that he would run if he had a zoo. And all of these books that I saw were sort of in that line. It's like, that's sort of what it is. It's this uninhibited, free associated imagination universe.
And if you had kids, you'd understand.
Right, exactly correct. And it was so strange. And the worst part is that, and I might get canceled for saying this, but having caricatured pictures or caricatured stereotypical characters in a book isn't racist. It's nothing.
What are you talking about?
Racism is when you say associate that stereotypical caricature and then ascribe it to an individual you interact with. It isn't a fictional character that is their character, is the stereotypical caricature. That person that is fictional and completely made up and could be literally anything is just that way, because that's how fake stuff works.
Yeah, use the tropes and archetypes and stuff.
Or it's just like anything. It's like, no one's from the moon, man. Nobody lives up there. Actually, this guy is. No one. He just is. In my story, he's from the moon. He was born there.
Yes, I love it. That's the thing. You
Doesn't
can't
matter.
do this. Like, well, I just did.
Yeah, you do.
You can't do this.
Stop me.
It's my story. I made it up.
Your black characters aren't representative of all of the different kinds of black people that exist in the world. It's like, yeah, I don't know about all those guys, but this guy in my story, he's like this. This is his character.
Yeah, that's the thing. I saw it.
So I don't understand.
You can't. I've seen that because as you know, that Collateral Damage has the main character is black, and I've seen it when I read criticism and critique and stuff about people writing outside their gender or writing outside their race, and the thing I see is like, you can't truly write demographic outside of your demographic, because you don't have the correct history or something. And I'm like, but my character does. I'm like, I don't know what you want. It's he is, you know.
I get it. Actually, I can because I just did it. Ha ha! Trumped again. So yeah, that's my take on it. It's like, okay, just because there's a thing in there doesn't mean it's racist. Racism doesn't mean that. Racism means believing in a hierarchy or division of peoples based on race. You can have to define that too, because I don't know, there's not a clear definition to me about what that means, what race is. And you think that those people based on the race are fundamentally and essentially different, a number of characteristics, and have common attributes that are innate and immutable. You have to have a concept of race, and that there are different ones. And then you have to say, to take it to the classical thing, that some are better than others. That's what racism is. Some races are better than others, and your race is bad. And you're bad along with them, because as part of that race, you have these characteristics of that race.
You look like a Neanderthal.
Yeah, exactly correct. Neanderthal, even more so because Neanderthals were a different species altogether, not just some race, however you want to define that.
Yeah.
You're part Neanderthal? Oh, you sicken me. You're so dumb. You can't even think. You put everybody in danger with your dumb Neanderthal DNA in you. Who would be offended by that, Adam?
No reasonable person.
No
right?
reasonable person. It's absurd. Ugh. But anyway, I get off on this thing. Because people say that. I see that all the time. It's like a stereotypical character in a piece of fiction is racist. And I'm like, no. That's not racism. If you have to take it another step to say that it is. And what it is the intent. So having that character in the book could be evidence of racist intent of the author, let's say. Because what they're trying to do is portray a archetypal or generalized caricature of an entire race of people and then ascribe them to this one character in the book. Or whatever. And then you say, okay, that guy's a racist because that's what he's trying to do with his book, and he's trying to put forth that idea. But just having a character that's, I don't know, it's like the absurd comic relief black guy in some movies in the 90s and stuff like this. You know, it's like that guy's in every movie. And it's like, oh, that's all black guys or whatever. So then that's the racist idea.
That's a great, in that Not Another Teen movie.
Yeah.
Like, the black character meets another black guy at the party, and like they have this conversation about like one of them has to leave because they're like,
yeah,
they're like, oh man, sorry, and it was good.
Yeah,
they played on the thing because that was the trope that was like the thing in those '90s movies, those '90s high school movies.
Exactly, and I think that what the thinking and the conversation that we've just had about this is about a million steps above what is actually driving the desire to sort of cancel, if I'll be so bold, use of those types of characters in literature or media or anything else. And it's that it is dangerous to have a character like that in your media because stupid people will see it and think that all of people of X race or sexual orientation or gender identity are like character in your thing.
Baron Harkonnen, right?
Yeah. All white guys are like Edward the Longshanks from Braveheart. Oh, those English, they're so vile. Ooh. How dare you depict them such? But that's what it is. It's that's what's been pushing a lot of this cancel stuff. Isn't that necessarily one person having these ideas? They're bad, obviously, for doing it. But it takes away their own intentionality. And they say that even if you did something like this and your intent was not to advance these ideas, but just to even talk about them, is problematic and dangerous, because stupid people will hear you talking about it, even though whatever you're saying might not be problematic if it was just you and smart people. But dumb people are going to hear you, and then they're going to take it, and they're going to run with it, and then they're going to be racists all over the place, and
Dude,
the next thing you know, it'll be Jim Crow all over again.
I got that joke that they were trying to do in that movie when I first saw it, and I was like 14 or 15 years old. I don't get it. That doesn't...
Yeah, but that's the thing. They don't trust people to think rightly. People will make wrong thought. And that can't be allowed.
It's pretty explicit in the sense that, like,
look,
the
I don't disagree.
I'm supposed to stand here and say stuff like, "Man, that's whack," you know, like it's straight up like this is they laid it out.
Yeah, but you're a lawyer, so you're smart. You can actually parse these ideas, but you must only talk.
I wasn't always a lawyer.
You must only talk about them behind closed doors, away from the dumbs, so they cannot hear you.
And just also, as you know, just because you have a law degree, just because you're licensed to practice law,
that's not what I've heard.
Does not mean that you're smart.
All the characters I see on TV who are lawyers are very smart.
We need to make a new one where, like, it's like, well, no, it's not.
We need more representation in lawyers. What?
Neanderthal lawyer.
He was super genius. It was the unfrozen caveman lawyer Phil Hartman in that SNL sketch, and that was his trope. He would play up. He's like, "I'm just an unfrozen caveman. I'm not aware of all of your modern ways. I'm so confused and surprised and scared by your modern appliances like streetlights or whatever." But the fact that my client was not there present on that store, didn't have the requisite intent and then he would go on to this like legalese, like intricate argument, like out of nowhere. It's like, obviously that's just setting up for the jury to.
Yeah. It's like the whole like, oh, I'm not a high powered city attorney. I'm just from the boonies.
Yeah.
But
Section 503 of the code.
Yeah, no, dumb lawyer is we need to put that on our to-do list.
Yeah. It's not hard. We could probably just call up some people and have them just start talking.
No. Yes, I know. In real life, I meant like in fiction or something.
Yeah. But you
meet Doug.
Yeah. No, Doug's lawyer has to be competent. That's the whole thing.
Yes, and the love interest.
But you had touched on this before, and this what do they call it? A fake duck on the internet pointed this out too about about the Dr. Seuss canceling. And he had this idea. He says, seriously though, does everyone understand that the Dr. Seuss thing is a cynical self-banning of deep catalog titles by the IP owners intended to preempt any attempt to cancel any of the popular titles they actually make money on? They are working the woke ref fascinating development. Now, if there is any grassroots wokester action attempted against their star properties like The Grinch or The Cat in the Hat, in the future it'll be been there, done that, and it won't gain much traction. I wonder who is advising them on this strategy. It's Machiavellian genius. And if that is the intent, then it is Machiavellian genius, because it's like, okay, there had been these articles going around about how these books were racist and they had this racist imagery within it, and so they could just instead of getting Dr. Seuss canceled in general for being a horrible racist, they could just cancel these 6 books and then go on selling millions of copies of Cat in the Hat every year.
I mean, to be fair, I have heard of the Zoo one and the Mulberry Street one before this, but I haven't heard of the other 4.
They were all quite delightful to read. I would recommend it. Just find that Hero Crab on the internet. They're all available on his Twitter account.
Still, for some reason.
Yeah. No, they're never coming down. He doesn't have enough followers. Yeah,
he did. That's a resurrected account, by the way. I don't know. I forgot what his name was before, but he got banned.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He got banned like in October, I think.
There's been lots of people getting banned off of Twitter lately because it keeps on getting easier and easier to get banned. The latest one, Beige Shiba. One of the many dog accounts.
Yes, they're coming after Battle Beagle next.
I couldn't relate to anyone more than I related to Indiana Jones in this GIF when I heard this.
Yeah.
This is just after he thought Miriam had been killed in Raiders.
I need to watch those movies again.
Very sad. But yeah, they're going on widespread fire, burning everything down. It's a good thing that we do have Gab to fall back to. I don't believe I haven't heard about them banning anybody. You can do whatever you want on there. I wonder.
I don't know about anything, but I don't know what their thing is with.
I bet you can't have an OnlyFans on there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that they allow pornography. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They have a decidedly Christian slant. All Twitter will end up being is leftists and nudie sites.
Ugh. Gross.
Well, who needs it? Well, I actually do need it because Ice-T is only on Twitter. And that's how we get our ice cold fact of the week. Straight from Ice-T himself. Stress is definitely a major part of life. Your ability to address it and deal with it is something that takes experience and practice. Some people seem not to stress. They've just mastered that part. They also deal with stress. You'll just rarely see it. You just gotta deal with it, man. Ice cold style. Bam. And he's looking super gangsta in this image he posted along with it. Ice is so cool. Maybe one day.
Yeah, I can't really see it that well, but it looks like old school.
Yeah. Man, maybe one day we'll get to interview him for the show.
sorry, our connection issue. Our connections.
We'll have that fixed by then. Hey, and the only way that'll ever happen is if this channel grows. And so if you're watching this video after we upload it, the recording, because the live stream failed miserably, like the video, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Twitter at @triggered_media, and you can help us grow and one day get Ice-T on the channel to interview us and give us straight up live ice cold facts all night. That'd be so cool. Our sub count would like quintuple if that ever happened. It'd be great. He'd never come on the show. Is also a thing that I'm playing. But that's our show for tonight, folks. We really hope you enjoyed it. Adam, do you have anything you'd like to add here at the end of the show?
I do not, no.
All right. Well, folks, that's it. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next week on Trigger. Good night.